What's cracking and popping, everybody? It's Dr. Howie Wowie here, and welcome to another episode of the Heal408 podcast, where we are connecting the health and healing world to more of itself. And we got another awesome episode here today. Got another special guest, and it's funny, on reflection here, this is my fourth episode of doing this, and every introduction, I introduce myself as being really excited about my guest. And of course, I'm excited and stoked for my guest because A, I get to have awesome conversations, and B, I am the host of the show, so I get to pick who I have on my show. And it's just a little reflection because I've noticed that every time I do my intro, I talk about how stoked and excited I am for my guest. And it's just the truth every time I do this. But regardless, my guest on this episode, his name is Dr. Ramón Vargas. He's a chiropractor up in San Francisco at Golden Gate Chiropractic at the Marina location. Not only is he a chiropractor, he also has a side project where he is a co-facilitator of a men's retreat and men's work called Men Need Men, alongside Dr. BCB, who I will hopefully have on in future episodes. But uh, but in this episode specifically, we reflect on the men's retreat itself that occurred in September. We also allowed Dr. Ramon the time to talk about himself and his purpose and his journey in life to where he is now today. So without further ado, I am stoked to introduce my brother, Dr. Ramon Vargas. Thanks, guys.
Dr. Ramón Vargas, how you doing, man?
Doing great, man. Thank you for that little introduction. I appreciate that. Blessed to be your brother.
Uh,
Blessed.
so am I, man. Just want to give a little detail for the audience here. So exactly a week ago, my man, that's just the craziest thing. Dr. Ramon and also Dr. BCB were the two co-facilitators of a men's retreat called Men Need Men. And with that, this happened last week from Friday to Sunday. It was just been a powerful spiritual journey experience that I gained a lot out of. And we're going to take a moment today to offer some reflections there. Um, but just diving in real quick, Dr. Ramon, I really want to get to know you a little bit. So, in 30 seconds or less, how would you describe yourself? Who is Dr. Ramon Vargas?
Mm. This question is always ever changing. It's always a a very powerful question for me. It really digs deep for me. I have to really go back into like who I am. I try to describe who I am without having to say what I do, right? Um, but it always boils down to I am my past experiences, right? Like every experience I've ever had, whether it was good or bad, it was all meant to happen to be that I am the man that I am today. It's led me to be a guide, a facilitator in chiropractic, and facilitate men's work. I'm blessed to be a son, having two healthy parents who are thriving at the moment. I'm blessed to be a brother to many. I am blessed to be a friend and an athlete in chiropractic, an athlete in life. I'm blessed to be, I'm just a man who wants to continue to evolve, right? A man who has come in peace with his shadow, and just recently again, yeah, that is who I am.
I really love how you kick off each thing that you said that, or each thing that you describe as I'm blessed to be blank. I'm blessed to be blank. Thing that really embodies who you are as a true gentleman.
Yeah, I think it's when I say blessed, it's because it's like not many get that opportunity. So the fact that I get to be a brother to many, like, shows that having quality connections in my life means that I am providing value in some way, and I'm blessed to be in that position.
One of the things that I really enjoyed in kind of our men's training work, and this is something that I think you said that you and your brother both really embody is the quality of the questions, right, leading to the quality of relationships, leading to the quality of life. And I want you to give you a quick opportunity here to like really dive a little bit deeper on that. Where did that come from, and how do you notice your life changing when you really hone into that philosophy?
Yeah, where that comes from is just like, if you really think about it, how do you really connect deeper with someone else? It's just asking deeper quality questions with someone. Like, if I'm looking at you in your face, like, you can say like, how are you? Good. Yeah, but like, how are you? Right? Like, and with how are you kind of coming in with these questions? Like, if I'm asking like, are you like happy with this current chapter in your life? And what else do you need to do to better this chapter so you can end it with the banger? You know, what are the goals that you are trying to go through in the end of the year, and how can I support you? You know, why aren't you having these kind of conversations with the people you love? But if you do, and you follow through with those kinds of questions, and you say what you say you're going to do. If I'm saying I'm going to support you in something, and you literally ask what you need support in, and I support you in, do you think that quality of relationship is just going to amplify? Right. And without having anything asked in return, it's just like, how can I provide value to the people I care about? You know, and you will know if you're asking deep questions. And once you build that strong relationship, then you will have a better quality of life, because when you are in your ups and downs, guess who's going to be there? That person, to celebrate and to be there and support you when you are going through your tough times. And only and then, when you know that that's happening and you know you're always going to be okay, that's when joy can come in, right? It's like, I'll always be okay no matter what happens. Joy comes in, right? And from a joyful place is when you can really just start to feel and experience life to the fullest, I think. You know, there was this longest study ever done in Harvard, and it was that, I think it started in the 1930s. From then till now, it's still going. I think it's over 80 years of this study that's been going. They've been following people to just see like what keeps people healthy, live longer, and just full of joy. And the common denominator was that they had quality relationships. They interviewed their children, they interviewed their partners, they interviewed their extended family, interviewed them. They scanned their brains, took their blood work, the whole 9 yards. And the common denominator was they had quality relationships in their lives, right? And it wasn't their cholesterol levels at 50 that determined if they were going to be healthy at 80. That's the crazy thing about it. And they're still doing this study today, studying their children. They have now about like 2,000 children that they're studying. And this is Harvard who's doing that study right now, just to see like, what is the thing that's the answer for a healthy, long life, you know? And it was the quality of relationships. So we just got to ask ourselves, what we get there, right?
I really like how, for me, when I reflect on both your answers from this question about the quality of life and versus, and also in addition to our first questions, how you describe yourself, you know, like I go back to the way you describe it. I am blessed to be X. I'm blessed to be Y. And I think what's so unique about you yourself, when I think about your relationship with others, it's that you found this self-identity of being blessed with the position you are in today, with the titles that you wear. And that allows you to now be engaged with other people and to be able to express the life that you want beautifully, and then creating those relationships together. So I really see how those two things tie in together. That's really unique.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So the next question here is I want to ask about your purpose, and I know that was something we honed in this weekend. So putting you on the spot, Dr. Ramon, what is your purpose, and how did you find your purpose?
Yeah, man. And the unique thing about our thing was that we didn't just have a weekend of this men's work, man. It was a whole month of it. You know, it was like a whole month of training, and it was just beautiful in itself. And it was a question that I always think about, and I thought of more in that month. And my purpose is to equip, to encourage, and engage others to step into their true spiritual, emotional, and mental power, to create systems to for the future of our generation, so that they can become better participants in society. Like, that's my goal. Like, how can I become a better participant in society? And why is that important? Right? It's just to make the world a better place. Because we know one thing for sure is that there's going to be generations before us. So how can we leave a system or a mark and say, like, what we set here is going to be used for years and years to come, and it's bettering humanity. That's my goal. So me building Men Need Men, building clinics for people to come and heal, like, and if that's still here and I'm gone, like, forget it, man. I'll be the most happiest person in this world, man, to see those kinds of things to continue to go forth even when I'm not here. You know,
I love that.
But when I say equipped others, I mean like equipping them with tools, with tools and resources that I've learned myself through mentors, through other brothers, whatever the case may be, that's helped me. And I'm going to want to pass those tools on, right? Things that changed my life, I want to put that on. I want to share that, share it forward, man it forward. The thing that we talked about, just if there's something that's changed you, pass it on to a brother, pass it on to a friend. That's what it's about, sharing knowledge. And when I say encourage or to engage others, it's like teaching them to take responsibility. It's not like no one's really gonna heal you. You heal yourself. Someone can just facilitate and guide you on how to do that, right? And that's what me and you do in our career. So when I say like engage someone, it's like making sure they're doing the work and make it fun, enjoyable, inspiring, And when encouraging them is like motivating them and showing them that what is possible, right? So that's it. That's my purpose, man.
It's the gift that gives on that the gift that keeps on giving, right? As you're able to spread, the awesome stuff that you learned that are life changing to your brothers, to your family, right? And then watching them be able to teach that to others, right? It's one of those things that you just talked about. Like, even when your time on this earth is gone, like, those teaching are still passed and passed and passed and passed, right? And making it one step closer to, exactly what you said, right? The evolution of humanity, which that's something I really love and really resonate with. Where this passion and purpose behind men's work start from with you?
Yeah. For a while, I was going through a dark time. I was pushing that away, though. I was kind of ignoring it. I didn't want it to be true, but I was going through a dark time, kind of starting chiropractic school. And this came from past relationship stuff that's happened, and losing what I thought was my purpose before was I was trying to chase something money couldn't buy, and that was like a medal in the Olympics. That's all I cared about. I cared nothing but sports, women. Like, that was, to be completely honest with you, that's what it was. And I didn't really care about the world, have empathy for the world, until I came to chiropractic school. And that's when I started finding like, oh, like, there's more to care about. There's more to have empathy about. Like, I just came out of my little bubble and I had so many realizations. And then I went to my fourth quarter in chiropractic school, which was a year in. And one of my buddies, his name is Anand Sharma. Shout out to Dr. Anand Sharma. He's the one that told me, like, hey, like, let's join the fraternity. And that already triggered some stuff. Like, I really didn't like the word fraternity. I didn't really have a good connection with the fraternities in college times. So I was like, nah, I'm not down. But then I saw who was in it. I paid attention closer on who was in the fraternity, and I was like, oh, wait, I look up to these guys. And they've been so good to me. And actually, they're very knowledgeable about chiropractic. What happens if I'm with them most of the time? Let's find out. So when I heard it was like a business fraternity and it wasn't really a social fraternity, I didn't even distinguish the both. I never knew what the difference was. But I was like, all right, let's go check it out. Like, they have informational meetings and they're like to kind of talk about what they're about. And from then on, I was like, cool, I'm in. Like, I'm fully on board. I went in, and the year after that, they did a retreat. So this was 2021. It was a men's retreat. And I've never received so much love ever in my life. And I've never had someone like break me down to my core in that loving space, right? For them to just really see who I am and through my bullshit, you know, and in that moment, I'm like, whoa, what is happening? Like, I am questioning my whole existence and who the hell I am. And that was different for me. And, you know, that made me realize that personal development isn't about accumulating material or knowledge. It's also about breaking down who you are is personal development. That's the big realization for me. And when that happened, when I broke down who I was, that's when I started to build again, right? And from that place, I started coming from an open heart, open mind. And I don't know, I just started to see the world very differently, you know, with other men, with women, with the people I care about. Everything just mattered to me. I went from like, I don't know, it doesn't matter, to, yeah, but how can I make it matter? You know, how can I make something matter instead of always saying it doesn't matter, right? And that's changed my life completely. And that's kind of why I'm doing men's work. It's like I wanted to give that to other men, right? And I had this realization before the weekend. I was like, wait, I know how potent men's work is, that I'm not even going to put that on anybody. I want them to just experience and let this experience do whatever it does for them. You know, I didn't want, like, just because I experienced those things that I just said doesn't mean that I want other men to experience those things. If they might experience more, you know, and I don't know. And so I didn't want to limit it to those things. But what men's work did to me, like I said, I follow now, like, shout out to also Connor Beaton, who wrote the book Men's Work. He's been doing men's work for many, many years. And he talks about like manning things forward. So if something changed your life, forward that to other people, right? And so that's what I'm doing with men's work. I found so much passion in doing so because it completely changed my life. I can't say I am living with joy. I am living my purpose. And I want other men to experience that, you know? And yeah, it's just like, I feel in alignment with everything I do. I cut people's hair. Majority of that is men. And even though I'm not a therapist, but I get to hear them for an hour. That's special to me. It's very sacred. Not many people get to touch your hair. And here you are sitting down at my table and you're allowing me to do that with the quality conversations, through quality questions, building quality relationships, right? That's why I love cutting hair. I've been doing that for 13 years now. And the reason why I love doing body work and doing chiropractic work and facilitating, guiding people to health, right? It also requires quality questions to really understand where this person's really coming from, figuring out their puzzle and solving it together, you know? So, yeah.
I really love the different hats that you wear are all executing your purpose. You know what I mean? The ability for you to hold space for somebody, listen to them, and then being able to just facilitate their healing and whatever potential that they have, but also, that concept of like man it forward, you know, like what was life changing for you? You want to be able to share that with others. And I think the biggest takeaway, because you reflected on this this last week, was letting go of that attachment to how it was for you, because it may be more for somebody else, right? Like if you're staying attached to like, oh, I felt this way from this other retreat, I want you to experience what I had experienced. Now you're kind of creating this barrier of what's possible, right? And so I think by you letting that go, going into last weekend, I mean, hey, you know, you and I experienced it. It was just life changing. You know what I mean? So not placing limitations, not being attached to that. I think that's really great. And know that, and this is what's beautiful. I've had a moment to reflect here. Is you were able to share the things that was life changing for you, and share that with me as a participant in the retreat. And for me, coming out of the retreat, I'm finding myself in the facilitator role as well, of hitting out my homies and being like, look, like, I want you to get this book. Let's read it together. Let's have weekly check-in calls, right? for me to actually do Wednesday morning move free meditate sessions, like it has inspired me to also think the same way. It was like, what was life changing for me? I want to also share that with my community and my world, and also let go of any attachments to what would be possible. And I have a lot of you to thank for that, because it really shifted my perspective on a lot of things and allowed me to be the person that I am right now. And as I continue to evolve, and I think that was just, man, honestly, dude, it was just such a great weekend. And I want to dive a little bit deeper now with the Men Need Men retreat. And
before you do though,
go ahead.
I want to take this moment here before you do.
Mm-hmm.
This right here though, what just happened right now is the reason why I do it. The fact that you said, I want to take this book and share it with my homies. Like, you ever heard of The Big Idea by our founder, BJ Palmer?
No, I should know. I should know, but I don't know.
It's all good. It's all good. No. I mean, even the quote he says, it's a long quote, but it pretty much says that you change the life of one person, and that person can change the life of 10 people, right? Mm. And those 10 people can change the life of hundreds of other people. And then those hundreds of people can change a community, and those people can change a society. And once you've changed the physical and mental abilities of a state or a society, then you're already seeing that the efficiency of the world just starts to change, right? And that's just kind of the big idea in a general basis. But that it even happens with health. Like if even one adjustment is a small thing for one person, I mean, it's a small thing for in general, but to that person, if you improve their health, that's a big thing. But that one person can change and heal other people because they're showing up different. You know, it's like that ripple effect. And the fact that you're going to go do that, this is why I do what I do. This is it, to share my knowledge so that other people can share theirs. Because all I'm doing is sharing what people shared to me. I'm coming from a very humble place. Like, I'm not saying I learned this all by myself. I'm just put everything together, that everything that's worked for me, and share it to the world the best way possible, that it's not in a way that fits one shoe fits all, you know? So it's for everybody. And thank you for manning it forward, showing it to your homies, having weekly calls with them, because you don't know what can happen to their life. That's beautiful, man. Anyways.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. Appreciate the reflection, because I mean, it is the motivation, inspiration, you know, from watching you being you, right? And allowing me to be in a safe container to learn from you, and also allow me to now be in a position where I'm like, yeah, like I do want to bring this forward. Like I do want to facilitate retreats down the road. Like if we want to go a little bit further, Dr. Ramon, I'll tell you this right now. My birthday's December 15th. I got a good friend of mine who's in Brooklyn, who is a facilitator of a movement retreat. And I'm going, like, to spend my 30th in New York to do a movement retreat. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm seeking out what my needs are. And from this beautiful weekend we had together, I'm like, okay, I did a men's retreat. Let me do like a co-ed movement retreat. Like, let's just move and play. Like, I believe it's called infinite play. Let me just go play. So that's just, you know, I want to just show you really the power of the work that you did last weekend has made great, ever-changing, everlasting effects on myself, but I'm also sure of the other participants as well. And I'm just so stoked to be part of that first one, you know, and watching myself grow along with all you guys as well. So going into last weekend, our Men Need Men retreat, I think the first thing I really want to ask is, and I know you talk about letting go of that attachment, but like, was the retreat everything you had hoped for?
It was everything I hoped for and more, I think. You already telling me you changed your life. My job was to change one person's life, you know, and I know it changed everybody's life who went there. You know, the unique, I think, experience about it was, I've been to men's retreats before, like I said, but this one was a smaller group. We wanted to see, like, what would be different if it was 10 people opposed to 50 or plus more people. and the intimacy just created a different container. And I loved it. I loved that it was so intimate. And the unique part about this for me was I had family members come to this. I had people who are my homies that I would have thought they would have said yes to come to this, right? And that just goes to say, like, how much leading by example actually affects others, right? Like, my family is all about chiropractic now. My family is always, like, my aunts are coming up to me telling me what's going on in their life, and I actually love that. I want to be that person without giving people the answer, but just continuing to ask quality questions, because some people already know the answer to their problems. It's just like, how can I just be there to support? And the fact that people are trusting me, coming to support me in other events, even though it's not about me, it's for them, but it just goes to show that the work is being shown. And I love it. Not only did the people that went got a lot out of it, I got a lot out of it. I let go of some shit that I've never let go of before. And I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought I was there just to facilitate. But right. I was in there. I was deep in with you guys. Right. And another thing that, like, came up to me was, it seemed like the biggest conversation was forgiveness and fatherhood. And those two big things are huge for a lot of men. And I think it was beautiful that it was those two things. Because if there's some things that might be holding us back, is that, I mean, that's exactly what going deep into your shadow is like, why are you the way you are? And why is that holding you back? And the workshops built around that was perfect. So it was everything I hoped for. Beautiful. The adaptation was nice. I love that. Like, we had set schedules, but we adapted in the middle every single day. The schedules were different. They changed every single day based on what was being presented in front of us. That was a unique experience about this, and I loved it.
Yeah, and I know me of all the other guys was really hounding you about the schedule because I just needed to know, man. But I think that's what made it more magical, was being like, all right, this is what we got next. This is what we got next. So I think that was just managing the lack of expectations, right? And really being present. I think that was what was magical about it. So I apologize for me being me, but I just had to, man. I just had to be that guy. But I really want to take an opportunity.
I love it. You got to bring you.
Yeah, gotta bring me, man. You know what you get. You said two things there I really want to get a little bit more insight on, which is one, a lot of times when we're the facilitator of something, we kind of are like a step outside the circle in a way, right? Like, as a facilitator, you may not be able to be as a participant compared to the others, but it seems to me like you're able to kind of step back and forth between the two. Sometimes you're a facilitator, you kind of have to be on the outside a little bit, but you're still able to have those moments where you're with the group and getting deep and getting vulnerable, right? So did it feel like that? Like, there's times where you're kind of bouncing between the two, or did you really feel like you're always, on the outside looking in rather than inside looking out? Like, how did that feel as being the facilitator?
I actually enjoy going in and out because it depends on the situation. Like I said, if I need to show how deep you can actually go, then I will participate. Does that make sense? Sometimes you just have to show people like how, like, there's more than you actually think. Like, let's go deep. Let me show you. Right. So, anytime I ever facilitate, I'm going to bounce back. There's going to have to be a clear separation between, like, yes, I'm a facilitator, and yes, I'm a human being just like you, going through the same shit you are going through. Let me show you. Again, leading by example. I'm not here just to facilitate. I'm here to go do the work with you. Yeah. And one of the biggest realizations I had to myself was when we had. Go ahead.
No, go. Keep going.
One of the biggest realizations was that for me, I needed to celebrate more. That time we talked about, like, every time you have a big win, are you putting that cookie in the cookie jar? And for me, it was like, damn, dude, everything I've ever accomplished, I still had doubt about a lot of things in my life. And I never went back to the cookie jar to see how full this jar is of cookies, or AKA wins, you know? I'm like, damn, just realizing that, like, I am that man, you know, I am that MF dude, like, you know? And that was one of the big realizations for me that weekend. And so, and the reason why that happened was because I was also participating.
Yeah.
So I think it's huge, and for any facilitator to also partake and be facilitated once in a while and facilitate. Yeah.
Yeah. I really think what you and BCB did really as facilitators and participants and going just all in and leading by example was a big part in letting guys like myself and all the other guys as well just kind of let their guard down, be fully embraced and fully receive and fully see each other. So I really like what you guys did there. It was like a really fine balance between like, all right, this is, you know, Dr. Ramon's leading this thing. Here's what we're doing. Boom. And then you're in there in the huddle with us, right? Like, here's what we're doing. Cool. And then boom, in the huddle with us. So I thought that was really unique, but I just really want to just hear it from your perspective too, like, and, you know, and how that was. So thanks for sharing with that. The last piece here I also want to really touch in on was you having family members there. And for me was seeing what's possible. When I look at my family, when I look at my brother who's 3 years older than myself, like my brother and I are not close. Like it's almost to a point where when I tell people I have an older brother, like, well, you do? I'm like, yeah, we're just not close, right? But seeing the potential of what it could be, just watching you and your brother, you and the other cousins. And so I know you guys were already close to begin with, but did you feel like this really brought you guys all together?
Yes, 1000%. That's it's happened through multiple things in our life. There's things that I'm introducing to the cousins, bringing them forward, bringing them to things that changed my life. I've always done that, and it's changed their life. And when those type of interactions happen, the bond just gets stronger and stronger. And this is very unique in its own way. To do this kind of work with them, to dive deep into our own shit, like that's not almost all the time what you tell your family members, everything you've been through. And when you're doing that in front of them and then doing the work together, like I'm excited what's to still come, because the work, as you know, is not finished. We still got lots of work to do. As a matter of fact, we got a call this weekend, even after going after a weekend retreat. Like there's still a little bit of work to be done. Like I always said, like going to a retreat is retreating to self, right? And after the retreat is the attack, if you're thinking about it in a war. So we're in this attack mode right now. We're going to war with ourselves and actually showing up like the men we said we promised ourselves at the retreat, right? So that's what we're at right now. We're in the advancement. We're gonna come out and be the man that we said we were gonna be. So work's not finished.
Work's not finished. Absolutely. And I did find myself throughout this week was, yes, I buried the old me in the retreat, but definitely have recognized moments this week where there's old triggers, old patterns that come up. And for me, it was just literally like noticing it, feeling it, taking that breath in, out, and no longer serves me. And then boom, I'm back and I'm just like, whoa, dude, like this is new. Like this is like a whole new me. This was interesting, you know? So I just can't explain it, man. It has been definitely just such a potent experience. And then, you know, like you said, just in that attack mode, right? Recognizing where I'm falling in and really moving forward and creating those muscle memories, creating those new habits and awareness to be able to like continue to be this new me, continue my evolution. So I really have you to thank, and you and BCB as well, for just facilitating such a great weekend that I'm already looking forward to the next one. You know, like you got to do another one, right? Really want to get a moment here, and this is not tied down to you as a chiropractor, barber, facilitator of men's work. This is just you in general, Dr. Ramon. What is your definition of health?
that's a question that it's almost hard not to connect to chiropractic, you know,
Go for it.
because no matter where, it's the same answer. No matter what aspect of my life, it's the same answer. The answer is someone who can adapt to their environment, someone who is able or free of any mind or body limitations, right? You know, being depressed, having anxiety, being super stressed out, all are limitations of the mind, right? Physical pains, accumulation of so much toxins in the body, things like that. That's all physical stuff that doesn't allow you to fully experience life to the fullest. So if you're having limitations, so many limitations in your body, then I wouldn't consider that super healthy. But as soon as you are able to work on limitations, or you have little to no limitations, you are healthy, because that means you are adapting to the world around you. To me, that's what health is. And we can talk for hours on how you can do that, but I don't think there's just one way, you know. So
man, thank you for your time. Really was able to really offer a reflection on not just for yourself, but for me too. Really reflecting on what's happened this past week, getting to know you a little bit deeper with regards to the reason of why you're doing this, which I think has just a beautiful purpose behind it. So thank you for your time, man. I know it's Friday. I know we're feeling it at the end of the week. But thank you for, again, facilitating such a wonderful experience that for me is always going to stay with me for a long, long time. Even I'm trying to go on these more retreats, but like the first of everything, right, is just the most memorable. I'm happy I got to share that experience with you, and I'm a new man, better person for that. So I really want to take this time to really thank you for that. So that's it with Dr. Ramon here. We're going to move on to our Q&A session.
This week's Q&A was submitted over a phone call discussion, actually, with a good friend of mine. Thank you so much, Alexis, for submitting this question. What does compassion feel like? So I want to break down compassion into 3 phases. Phase 1, as I like to think about it, is the understanding phase. Phase 2 is the feeling it phase. Phase 3 is holding space. And I'll start there. I kind of just made those up, but that's just, to me, when I think about compassion, those 3 things come up. And I kind of look at it from like a step-by-step process. But here's what I mean by that. The first one, understanding it. During your interaction with somebody, whatever that interaction may be, when you're trying to express compassion, the first thing you have to do is understand like what is being told to you, but also not only that, understand what role you have or what role is being expected of you in this interaction. Are you expected to just hold space for a rant? Are you expected to give advice? Are you just there to give a discussion? Are you there just, hearing them out, or what we call shooting the shit, whatever, right? Like, what is your role in this particular interaction that you are trying to express compassion to? And with understanding also, there's a component to it where it is also understanding that you don't understand what they're going through. We all have different unique life experiences. Something, for example, such as just something as simple as a woman talking about their menstrual cycle and the aches and pains that go along with it. I, as a man, will never understand that. So, like to give compassion for that understanding aspect, I can acknowledge that aspect, that I understand that I don't understand what that feels like, which will lead to the other aspects that I'll talk about. But also in a different note too, maybe you do understand to a particular degree, such as, especially, when I was going to school at Palmer West, when you have younger quarters going through the same classes you just took 3 months ago, and you're able to just provide insight, provide advice, ways to navigate through the courses. and hearing the struggles that you yourself have gone through. Yeah, in a way, yeah, you are able to offer, you are able to have a better understanding because you yourself have experienced that. So understanding there's two components of that, where A, that you do understand to a certain degree, and B, you will just never understand, and acknowledge that. So there's that aspect of understanding. And the second aspect of that also for understanding is understanding your role in this interaction and what is expected of you. So from there, we go into phase 2, which is throughout this interaction. And once you have your understanding and know where you stand on that, how do you feel about it? Yourself, what comes to mind? And once you're able to understand how you feel, are you able to understand how they're feeling to the best of your ability? An example that I can think about here that comes up for me is during chiropractic in the adjustment, when the practice member is on the table face down prone, and I'm going through my palpation and cueing breath and several cues, subtle movements, as I'm feeling the tension and also allowing myself to know and understand the report they have given me about their day, about the tensions that they're holding. So with the information that I have also interpreted, right? So also with my hand feel the tension, areas of tension that's coming, that's being presented on their body. So then I will myself then tense up on my body where I feel those areas of tension. So I can try to physically have empathy to feel physically what they're feeling. And how does that feel as I'm moving this way? Or maybe they're restricted going to the right, and that's why everything's so hypertonic over there on the QL with the pelvis twisted. And allowing myself to reset from all those areas of tension I've created. But for me, that's a strategy that I use in my appointments where I can just have another level of understanding that allows me to be the best that I can be. That's just one aspect of one of the strategies that I use in my appointments. So feeling it. How do you feel yourself, and how do you try to feel what the other person's feeling? And the third is holding space. And holding space is actually a question I ask a lot, because I think everyone has a different interpretation of it. I think it's a word that's thrown out there a lot, and I think we all have an understanding of what that feels like. But for me, I'm going to come from it from a more energetic standpoint. Is once you understood what's happening and what is expected of you, once you feel what you understood, and once you try to feel what the other person is feeling, and when knowing all those things and knowing all those answers, how do you then create a energetic vibrational tone within that container of the interaction that feels safe for the other person to continue to express whatever their needs are? And I think that is only achievable because you understand what your role is in this conversation. You understand what is going on in the interaction. You understand your feelings. You are attempting to feel what the other person is feeling. So now just essentially match the energetic vibrational output that is being presented to you. And you can either increase or decrease your vibrational energetic output towards the other person. And in that moment of creating space, you create trust. In creating trust, I think that is key to compassion. And some of the buzzwords that come along with compassion is non-judgment, empathy. And with compassion also, there's the other polarity of it, which is not only giving compassion, but also receiving compassion. So how do you create a space for yourself to receive compassion? And that will be a further discussion for next time. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for all the feedback and all the love. Till next time. Thank you.